They do not wait for the world to hand them a miracle. They become the miracle. When the average person hits the snooze button, the successful rise with intention. When most run from pain, the successful train through it. While the world complains about circumstances, successful people create new ones. They're not just playing the game, they redefine it, because success is not an accident. It's a rhythm, a way of being, a pattern of thought, of discipline, of unshakable belief. And at the core of it all are habits, small invisible choices repeated until they reprogram the soul for greatness. Let that truth hit you like a lightning bolt. You do not become successful by chance. You build it in the dark, when no one is watching, when your muscles ache, when your heart doubts, when your mind screams quit and you refuse. That's where success is forged, in the fire of daily decisions. Ask yourself, what did Thomas Edison do when the light bulb failed 1,000 times? He kept going because persistence was his habit. What did Henry Ford do when they laughed at the idea of a car for the common man? He built it anyway because belief was his habit. What did Abraham Lincoln do when defeat knocked him down again and again? He stood back up because resilience was his habit. You want success? Then watch what you repeat, because the world is not shaped by the massive things we do once. It is shaped by the tiny things we do over and over again. Waking up with purpose, reading when others scroll, planning when others drift, choosing growth when comfort whispers your name. That's the edge. Because habits are not just behaviors. They are votes for the person you are becoming. Every time you act, you cast a ballot for your future. And the future doesn't lie. It simply reflects the consistency of your character. Think of success like a mountain. Not everyone gets to the top, but everyone can start climbing. And those who rise, they do so not by giant leaps, but by repeated steps. Each one boring, each one hard, each one worth it. The successful don't chase motivation, they manufacture it. They understand that success is built on the days they don't feel like showing up. When the alarm rings at 5 a.m., they rise, not because it's easy, but because their vision is louder than their excuses. They know that how you start your day determines how you end your life. So they begin with clarity, intention, energy. Before the world can invade their mind, they anchor it in discipline. And what do they feed that mind with? Not gossip, not noise, but wisdom. They are students of life. They study success like it's a science, because it is. They immerse themselves in biographies, ideas, and strategies, not to impress others, but to evolve themselves. They don't just read, they reflect. They don't just consume, they create. Look at Carnegie. He wasn't born into wealth. He trained himself into wisdom. He developed a habit of surrounding himself with thinkers, visionaries, doers. He didn't just build steel empires, he built mental empires, brick by brick, habit by habit, because successful people understand one thing that changes everything. If you want to change your life, you must first change your standards. And standards are enforced by habits. Low standards lead to lazy habits, but high standards, they demand excellence, repetition, obsession. You want to elevate? Then upgrade your rituals. Do not ask for success while clinging to the habits of failure. Do not beg for progress while dancing with procrastination. Do not speak of goals unless you are daily aligning your actions with them. You want to know what separates the dreamer from the achiever. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's consistency. It's waking up every day and doing the hard thing again and again and again, even when it's boring, especially when it's boring, because that's where breakthroughs live, in the silence, in the grind, in the unseen hours. While others are waiting for the perfect moment, the successful are creating it. While others are hoping, they are building. They have trained their nervous system to expect challenge. They crave the climb because they know growth lives in resistance. Power is born in pressure. And when failure comes, and it always does, they don't run. They don't retreat. They recalibrate. Their habit is resilience, not just bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Each setback becomes data. Each pain becomes fuel. They don't fear rejection. They extract the lesson from it. They know that failure isn't the end. It's the initiation, the trial by fire that forges real power, because success isn't about never falling. It's about building the habit of standing back up, stronger, wiser, sharper. Let that sink in. Success is not a moment. It's not a trophy. It's a lifestyle, a code, a blueprint repeated until it becomes instinct. You breathe it, you live it, you are it. And the greatest among us, they don't just develop these habits, they guard them like sacred rituals. They don't allow distractions to derail them. They defend their focus like a warrior defends his kingdom, because they know the enemy of greatness is not failure. It is distraction. It is drift. It is the slow erosion of your edge, one skipped habit at a time. So they simplify, they eliminate, they choose depth over noise, substance over spectacle. They say no more than they say yes. They guard their mornings, protect their mind, and move through the day with purposeful intensity. And they move with urgency. Not the frantic rush of the overwhelmed, but the steady, deliberate pace of a person on fire, a person who knows that time is not infinite, that every second you spend distracted, every day you spend drifting, every habit you let slide is a day you never get back. The successful understand the value of time in a way most never will, because they don't spend time. They invest it. Every hour is currency, and they spend it where it multiplies, in growth, in impact, in mastery. They know that wasted time is wasted potential, and potential is the most sacred thing you possess. Think about it. How many lives are wasted not because of lack of opportunity, but because of a lack of discipline? Discipline. That's the spine of all success. Without it, you drift. With it, you dominate. The successful don't rely on motivation because they know it fades. They rely on discipline, the habit of showing up regardless of how they feel. They've trained themselves to do the hard thing, especially when they don't feel like it, because they've realized something most people never do. How you feel is not the deciding factor. What you do is. Discipline is freedom. The freedom to live life on your terms because you've done what others wouldn't. It's waking up early not because you want to, but because your future depends on it. It's skipping the easy path not because it's comfortable, but because comfort kills dreams. It's doing the reps, reading the books, sharpening the blade when everyone else is asleep. Because in the quiet hours, in the solitude, in the repetition, that's where giants are made. Walt Disney didn't build an empire by waiting for someone to fund his dream. He kept drawing, kept building, kept believing, habitually, obsessively, relentlessly. Every rejection he faced, just another step, another lesson, another brick in the foundation, because his habit was belief, vision, creation. You see, successful people don't just have a vision, they habitually feed it. Every single day, they write it, speak it, envision it. They surround themselves with people and environments that reinforce it. They don't just hope things will happen. They condition their entire life to align with what they want. Vision is not a dream. It's a habit of focus. It's seeing what's not yet real and moving like it already is. And in that movement, in that daily alignment with purpose, they find something deeper, fulfillment. Not the shallow kind that comes from trophies or applause, but the kind that comes from progress, from doing what you said you would do, from living in integrity with your highest self. Because successful people don't chase success for status. They chase it for who they become in the process. It's not the car, it's the character, it's not the money, it's the mindset it took to earn it, it's not the applause, it's the grit it took to deserve it. They're not addicted to outcome, they're addicted to becoming. Every habit is a stepping stone to that future self. Every moment of discipline is a brick in the foundation of their destiny. And they understand something else, something that separates the great from the good. They reflect, they track, they adjust, because a habit without reflection becomes a rut, but a habit paired with awareness becomes a weapon. They study their days like a master craftsman studies his tools. What worked? What didn't? Where did I slip? Where did I win? They know that success is not just about doing, it's about improving, iterating, calibrating, making each day a little sharper than the last. They treat life like an experiment, and they are the scientist. Failure is not a verdict. It's data. It shows them where to refine, where to push, where to pivot. And because of this, their growth is exponential. Not because they move faster, but because they learn better. They don't just collect experiences. They extract wisdom. They make the habit of learning part of their DNA. They read not for entertainment, but for transformation. They listen to those who've walked the path. They surround themselves with mentors, coaches, and people who stretch their limits. They're not afraid to be the least experienced in the room, because that's where growth lives. Ego is the enemy of progress, and they've traded ego for excellence. Every conversation, every book, every challenge is a chance to expand. And while the world scrolls endlessly, numbing the mind with distractions, the successful train theirs like an athlete trains for war. Because that's what life is, a mental battle. And your habits are your armor. Gratitude, armor, discipline. Armor. Focus, reflection, vision, all armor. You don't wait for a storm to start building your defenses. You build them every single day. And gratitude, make no mistake, it's not just a feel-good emotion. It is a power habit of the successful. Because when you're grateful, you're present. When you're grateful, you're rich even before the money comes. When you're grateful, you can't be defeated because you see the gift even in pain. Successful people train their minds to find the blessing in the breakdown. They build the habit of perspective. When the world says, "Why me?" they say, "Try me." Because they know the universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to handle. And preparation is a habit, built in the dark, forged in discipline, sharpened in reflection, fueled by vision, strengthened by gratitude. The world doesn't hand you what you deserve. It hands you what you demand through your habits, not through wishful thinking, not through positive vibes alone, but through the repeated, undeniable proof that you are ready, that your life is not a product of chance, but of choice, that every step you take, every thought you think, every habit you engrave into your soul is a declaration to the universe. I am becoming unstoppable, because the truly successful, they don't hope for a breakthrough. They become the breakthrough. They live in such alignment, such relentless congruence with who they're meant to be, that the world has no choice but to respond. Success is not seduced by emotion. It is married to commitment. And commitment is a habit, not a one-time decision, but 1,000 silent ones. The choice to stay late, the choice to get up early, the choice to keep moving when your legs shake and your spirit doubts. That is what separates the legendary from the forgotten, the habit of choosing your future over your feelings, again and again. Look at Steve Jobs. His life wasn't smooth, it wasn't easy. He was fired from his own company, but his habits, unbreakable. Clarity, obsession, precision, vision. These weren't motivational posters. They were daily disciplines. And through that, he reshaped the world. Success leaves clues, but more than that, it leaves patterns. And those patterns are habits, small routines, repeated relentlessly, under pressure, under resistance, under fire. The successful don't just have habits, they become them, they embody them. They don't rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their systems. And their systems are built from rituals, behaviors, beliefs. All automated, all deliberate. They do not negotiate with laziness. They do not debate with doubt. They execute, because that is the habit. Execution. While others hesitate, the successful act. They move with urgency, because they know that overthinking is the death of momentum. They understand that perfection is the enemy of progress. They know it's better to be consistent than clever, better to be reliable than brilliant once, better to be disciplined than occasionally inspired. So they master the mundane, they crush the basics, they win the day with water, sleep, movement, focus, not because those things are sexy, but because they work, because the most powerful thing in the world is not a single massive action. It's stacked consistency over time, brick by brick, layer by layer. They build a fortress of success no storm can break. And when the storm does come, as it always does, they're ready. Adaptability. That, too, is a habit. The successful practice adjusting. They don't cling to old strategies. They observe, learn, shift. They respond to change faster than anyone else, not with fear, but with flexibility, because they understand rigidity is weakness. But adaptability, that's power. Life will throw curveballs. Business will evolve and the rules will change. And the successful welcome it because their habits are not shackles. And they are tools. They evolve as they do. And through it all, one habit remains stronger than the rest. Resilience. The unshakable, undeniable ability to rise, to get hit and stand back up, to fall 7 times and rise 8, to get rejected, ignored, laughed at, betrayed, and still keep building. Because the successful don't measure their life by comfort, and they measure it by growth. And growth hurts, it's uncomfortable, it's lonely. But they've built the habit of leaning into discomfort. They've trained their mind to find gold in adversity. They've practiced emotional endurance like an athlete trains for war. They don't quit when it's hard. They expect it to be hard, and they do it anyway because their mission is bigger than their mood. Their vision is louder than their pain. Their identity is rooted not in success alone, but in the relentless pursuit of it. And here's the secret no one tells you. You don't get habits by inspiration. You get them by identity. The successful don't just act successful. They see themselves as successful even before the world agrees. They decide, I am the kind of person who wakes up early. I am the kind of person who doesn't quit. I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. And then they act like it until the rest of the world has no choice but to see what they've already seen. And that's the ultimate habit, identity alignment. When your daily actions mirror your deepest truth, when who you are and what you do become one. No more acting, no more pretending, just living the standard. That's when success stops being a goal and starts being a side effect, not something you chase, something you attract, because you've become the person who earns it. And make no mistake, success is not rare because it's hidden. It's rare because it's earned in the dark, through habit, through fire, through faith. And the ones who rise, they're not chosen, they're conditioned. They're conditioned by effort, by hunger, by repetition. While the world watches from the sidelines, arms crossed in skepticism, the successful are in the arena, bloody, bruised, but undeterred. And that's what people don't understand. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's not about where you started or who doubted you. It's about what you do every day when no one is watching, when there's no applause, no spotlight, only silence. Because that silence, that's where your future is built. It's in the quiet, lonely mornings, in the repetitions no one sees, in the books you read when others sleep, in the sacrifices you make without announcement, in the choices, those quiet, invisible, brutal choices that most are too tired, too distracted, or too afraid to make. But you are not most people. You wouldn't be listening this far if you were, because something inside of you knows you were born for more. More than routine, more than comfort, more than just getting by. You were born to lead, to create, to dominate your lane, to turn the volume up on your calling and shut the noise out from everything else. And that begins not with one grand move, but with one habit, one sacred ritual of excellence, one decision to stop negotiating with weakness, one moment where you draw a line in the sand and say, this is who I am now, not tomorrow, not when it's easier, now because you've waited long enough. And you've watched others rise, but now it's your turn to burn the old scripts, to delete the excuses, to walk like you've already arrived, to step into your day like the architect of destiny, not the victim of circumstance. No more half commitments, no more I'll try, no more emotional roller coasters of action and apathy. Every day is a vote for the future you. Every habit is a seed for the life you crave. And you've got to plant them with intensity, with reverence, with unshakable belief. Because success doesn't fall from the sky. It rises from the ground you till with your bare hands. It grows from discipline watered with discomfort. It blossoms through persistence when everyone else would have quit. And it thrives only when you're willing to tend it daily, without excuse, without fail. You want the truth. It's not crowded at the top. It's just that most people aren't willing to climb. But you got something different in your blood. You don't climb because it's easy. You climb because you were built for the summit, and no mountain is too steep when your habits are your rope, your mindset is your map, and your purpose is your fuel. So rise. Rise with discipline, rise with intention, rise with gratitude in your heart and fire in your veins. Do not shrink, do not stall, do not wait for permission. The gates don't open for the timid, they swing wide for the relentless. So move like it's already yours, live like it's already done, and train like the world depends on your greatness, because in some way it does. The future is watching and the world is waiting, and you are the author of what happens next. Not your fears, not your past, you. So write it in sweat, write it in effort, write it in unstoppable, undeniable, unwavering habit. And when the day comes that they ask how you did it, you'll smile, and you won't need to explain, because they'll see it in how you move, and how you speak, and how you show up when the world is watching, and especially when it isn't. And they'll realize it was never luck, never talent, never chance. It was always habit, built brick by brick, relentlessly, and that's how you rise, and that's how you win, and that's how you become unforgettable.